Hello, sixth graders, and welcome to Remote Learning Week number 6, starting here on May 4th. And right off the bat, as soon as I say May 4th, being a huge Star Wars fan like I am, if you are into Star Wars as well, you know that May 4th is an important day because you can then say, May the 4th be with you. And so, for all the Star Wars fans out there, may the Force be with you on May the 4th. And so it's kind of a National Star Wars Day, and so you probably will see that pop up a couple other places. If you have any Star Wars stuff, it's a good day to wear it for fun, just because it's an excuse to wear your Star Wars stuff. So in the video for this week, I want to start with just a quick announcement about last week's test on forces on Study Island. So I know that for many of you, non-contact forces, specifically things like the electric field, gravitational field, magnetic field, and how we measure those things, and some of the characteristics of those fields. Brand new information that you guys might have had a little bit of background information on, but not a lot. And I think it's important for you guys to know some of the data that came from you guys taking the test. The class average throughout the 3 periods was an 88%. That's really good. 88% is really good. I would be happy with that in a regular setting. Now, of course, it's open notes, and so it's not by studying and everything like that, but we're in a different situation. So I just want to kind of point out, I think it's important to point out to you guys that even though this is a completely different situation and non-traditional from what we're used to doing, you guys are still learning, and you're still able to demonstrate to me that you're learning by the way that you're doing your activities and turning in your work, and then specifically having an assessment, a test like this, where you do really well on. And even if it is going back and using your notes, you at least did a nice job of using the strategies to find the information that you needed to do well on that test. So just, kind of take that as a positive in one of these situations, that you're still learning things, okay, and learning new material. And so that's really good. The other positive I want you guys to take from this is to reflect a little bit about, hopefully, how much better or how much more fine-tuned your skills have become in terms of what's called executive functioning. And what those skills are the skills that allow you to plan, prioritize, come up with a routine, staying organized in terms throughout the entire week, breaking things down into smaller sections to make sure that you continue to work on things to get it done. This environment of remote learning has kind of forced you to do those things. And so hopefully as you reflect here a little bit, maybe you'll actually admit that another positive of this is that you've gotten really good at that. And whenever we do get back to school, hopefully next fall, that's going to be a skill that will transfer over even when you're in regular school, that I think you guys will really benefit from. So I think that's actually another side benefit that maybe we didn't think about when we started this, and now that we've been doing it for a number of weeks, that you've gotten really good at this routine and planning and organization and how to use your time wisely, because I think that is an important life skill to have, not just for school. All right, so let's go ahead now, and I want to preview the Remote Learning Week 6 doc so we can see what you have, how I'm going to grade it, and my suggestion for chunking it for the week so that it can break it down to 2 small, manageable pieces. All right, so as we look at our Remote Learning Week 6 doc here starting on May 4th, if you notice, okay, there are only 3 assignment time grading this week. You have an ed puzzle here towards the beginning of the week that is an introduction to cells. It is an accuracy grade for 10 points. There are questions. I also put a couple of notes where I either voiced over or typed in some things, so make sure you're listening to those even though it might not be a question. And obviously make sure you watch the video through the end. So there's ed puzzle for 10 points. Then there is this parts of the cell activity, which is 20 points. And I'll get into that here in a moment. So that's a little bit more than a normal activity that we've been doing over the week, and it's worth 20 points. And you'll have some options depending on how much work you want to do. And then number 3, as always, the best way for me to kind of explain information and try to actually teach you information is by doing the videos that I call class notes. And so we're going to go through some of the cell organelles or parts of a cell. And so I'm calling it cell organelles part 1. There is completion grade. The notes this week are not guided notes. So I just have the subheadings in there for you, and you are typing in all of the bullets on all of the slides based off of the subheadings that I already gave you. The subheadings are the titles of the slides as you go through them. Okay, so let's look at how I chunked it for the week so that you spread yourself out and do a little bit each day. So hopefully you're not spending more than about 25 to 30 minutes a day on science. So Monday, you're to watch this informational video, use this document to kind of go through and do the planning of your week, of how you're going to split up your week with all your different classes and all the different work that you have to do. Okay. I also think it's important for you to do the ed puzzle for the intro to cells. So there are questions on there. The video is under 10 minutes. So this video is under 10 minutes between the two of them. That's about 25 minutes right there for you to do. Tuesday, begin parts of the cell activity. Wednesday, continue to work on parts of the cell activity. And Thursday, finish parts of the cell activity. Okay, and that's really the big chunk, which is also why it's 20 points. And so I'm having you work on that over 3 days this week. And then Friday is the class notes, cell organelles, part 1. Okay, all work as always due by Monday 9 a.m. That's kind of the breakup for the week. There's extra credit opportunity on the notes, so make sure that you're paying attention to the video as I go through my notes. I'm going to put in there a chance of how you can get some extra credit. I'm doing that for 2 reasons. 1, I think it's going to benefit you in learning the material, but 2, I don't know how many of you actually listen to my videos when I'm going through the class notes. It's really important that you're doing that. Some of you, I don't think you're not doing that. So make sure you're listening to the notes as you take the notes, not just fast forward to the slides, copy it in, and not listen to me. That's not going to help you as much as listening to me. Okay, so the last thing that I want to go through for this week are the directions for the big assignment this week, and that's the parts of a cell activity. So this is the doc here, and on this doc, you'll notice that I am giving 2 options for the week, and I want to make it kind of really clear of why there are 2 options. So option 1 is the minimum. Okay, so like it says right here, option 1 is the minimum. Okay, doing this option can earn you up to 16 out of 20 points. Okay, so you can get a 16 out of 20. 16 points out of 20 would be 80%, which is a B. Option 2 is a little bit harder. And so because it's a little bit harder, it's a little bit more time consuming. And so if you choose to work on option 2, then you will get at the very least 16 points, and you can earn your way all the way up to 20 points, which would be 100%. All right, and so either option, you're only doing one of them, okay? You only have to do one of them. You don't do both of them. You only do one of them. And whichever one you pick is fine with me. Just know that option 1's a little bit quicker and a little bit easier. So that's why I'm not going to give you a chance to get an A or an 100%, because it's not quite as hard as option 2. Option 2 is going to take a little bit more time and effort. And so the reward for picking option 2 is for you to have that chance to earn an A or 100%, right? It's that little bit above and beyond, like what an A should really represent, okay? So option 1, there's an article, there's a link there. You pick it, you click on it, you read, and then you're going to be graded on the accuracy of your answers. There's questions here below underneath student work here. Here they are. So the questions go here. There's this kind of like vocabulary chart that you have to do some matching with. And then a couple more questions. So it's kind of like doing almost like a reading guide is what I kind of think of when I think of option 1. Okay, and you're very familiar with those. Option 2 up here. It's the same article. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take the information that's in that article and organize it to make it into a really cool graphic in a s'more. Okay, so s'mores are digital posters. Okay, they're digital poster boards where you can embed pictures and text and GIFs and embed videos and make them really look really professional, but also look really cool and have lots of information on them. And it's super easy to use. Okay, I think you guys have used s'more with Mr. Link, or maybe you have in your tech class. Your tech rotation, if you had that rotation. So I'm assuming it's not going to be too difficult for you to figure out how to use. For you to get to the s'more part, okay, that's where step 4 is. You click on the link that I have right there, and then it's going to ask you for a class code. Log in through your Google account, okay? And then it's going to ask you for a class code, so then just copy and paste this class code right here, okay? And that'll get you into my class, and that gives you the pro version so that you have lots of more options instead of just the free version. For option 2, in your some more, that's what number 3 here says for what you need. You need to have information about cell organelles, some of the differences between animal and plant cell organelles, and then a description of the 4 cell functions needed to sustain life. All of that is in the article. It's organized that way in the article. So instead of you guys just doing kind of a boring reading guide to go a little bit above and beyond, you're going to create this s'more, putting in that information. If you're wondering about what sort of information to put in there and you want to use some of my questions from option 1 to help you, go ahead. But you don't have to answer these on this document if you're doing option 2, okay? Last thing, if you're doing option 2, when you're done with option 2, instead of emailing me a link to your s'more, I want you just to copy and paste it here on your document, and then that'll give me a way to get to it, and I don't get bombarded with a bunch of emails. All right, so that's why I've given 3 days for this assignment. If you're doing option 1, it's definitely not going to take you 3 days. But if you do option 2, it might take you 3 days. And so that's why I have on the chunking Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is meant for this parts of the cell activity, so that if you're doing option 2 and you're going a little bit above and beyond to earn that A, you have at least enough time to be able to do it. Email me with questions. Come see me in class or in my office hours if you have any type of issue with the website with s'more or anything, or questions for option 1 if you're not sure about what I'm asking on a question or something like that. All right, guys, have a great week. I hope to see some of you in office hours. Talk to you really soon.